Hi guys, welcome to part 3 of the butterfly mosaic. We're going to pick up where we left off. So we're looking at filling in. So I'll just get myself ready. So we've done the borders, we've done the body. Now we're going to fill in the wings. So as you see on this one, I've used mostly triangles. So keep the triangles roughly the same size. You always have to nibble. So because we've put the eyes in there, always have your nippers ready to cut, and just try and figure out the easiest way of working round pieces are without leaving yourself really fiddly little bits. So I'll do the other side now to show you that. So it's quite a small area, so I'm going to put in lots of glue. I'm going to glue the area, glue as you go. And I've got some bits already cut here, so I'm pretty happy this is going to be fairly easy. So what I'm doing, I'm looking at this first shape, and I'm looking at my bits. Get my bits in shot. So there. I'm looking at my bits. I've cut all these bits into roughly the same sort of size triangle. So I'm just looking for one that I think is going to fit in that space straight away without much cutting. So I get off to a good start. So let's look at that. That's perfect, that bit. It's also taken us past this grout gap, and it stopped before this grout gap. So again, perfect, because we want to cover as much as possible. We want to cover these grout gaps, because if they match up, if your grout gap matches up with your filling in, like that, if I just do that as an example, you're going to see when you grout it, you're going to have a line straight through it. And we don't want that. So as much as you can, always look at your pieces and try and find bits that cover across those gaps, like brickwork. Look at that, perfect. Okay. So again, I'm looking at my pieces, I'm eyeing them up, I'm got my nippers in my hand, ready to cut if I have to. So I've just taken a little bit off that to make that one fit. I'm looking at my next one. Look at that, that's perfect, it's gone in there. So I'm looking for, this one here is going to be a bit skinnier, so I'm looking for a skinny bit. I've got a skinny bit there. Let me just turn that around. So this, the glass I'm using here has got iridescent on it. It's got pearlized iridescent coating on one side and not the other. It's green. So it's green on one side, pearlized green on the other. So I want to try and keep it all pearlized. So that obviously means that you've only got one side to choose from. So it does make it a little bit trickier. And as I said before, what I'm really trying to do, that needs more glue. So what I'm really looking at is that this matches, this runs, the green runs. So when we grout it, it's going to look professional. Well, sort of professional, half professional. So just a little space at the end there. So again, I tend to just put the piece on, try and visualize the cut. Try and visualize the little cut I need, the little piece. Cut, put it back. Reassess it. It's a little bit big. I need to take a little bit off this end. Put it back in. Does it fit? Give it a little wiggle. And then match it up so it runs. I've got a bit in there. I want to tap that bit into that corner. I've covered the grout gap. And then I've just left myself a little bit to fit in there. So just to go above. Again, just not quite right. Make sure I've got the iridescent side up. That'll do. I'm fairly happy with that. You see that? Again, my pieces run, so when we grout it, this will all become one bit. They're all roughly the same size, a little bit different to that side, but that's okay. As long as they match and run, beautiful. Okay, so we'll do something different in the bottom. So I've got some yellow here, and I'm going to cut some strips. So scoring pen, press down hard. I push away on myself. If you're cutting strips, do lots of scores and then break them in from the middle. So you break the middle one, and then that leaves you with, say, 2 like that, which is 1 score mark. So that should split in 2. So I go for the biggest one. Ooh, that one's split. Well, that's okay. We like those bits. So then I've left myself again a 1, and then I'll try and split that. Bingo. So I'm going to do, because I've put these circles in, I think I'm going to do a little bit of bordering around the bottom. So I found a piece that fits just about. It's a bit tight, but fits in there, fits in that gap. Because we didn't leave a tiny gap, which is going to cause us a problem. We've left enough gap to get a bit of background in there. So just going to go across the bottom. So again, when you start, you don't want your grout gaps to match. So I've cut that one short of this first gap. And then I'm judging the size of the bit to get me, again, short of the next gap. So like brickwork. I'm having to cut take a bit of a bite out of it. So again, I've got a matching grout gap there, so I've shortened it again. I know it seems like a waste, but once we're past this, then we can go back to normal. So again, it's a very slight angle just to take it round the bend. And then again, we don't want to leave ourselves really silly bit at the end, so I'll just cut a longer bit. I'm putting it down on the board and seeing how it works. Okay. I think we'll just come up this side as well because we like. Again, I'm looking for a bit of glass that's the right thickness that's going to fit in there. So I'm also taking a bite out of it to fit round the circle. So I'm just keep testing it, putting a little bit in. And as I keep saying, I keep looking to make sure that it all runs, like the yellow pieces are running onto each other. So this is fairly straight really, so I'm just working up here. Again, I'm going to have to go small here because I don't want, I'm getting close to this gap, so I just want a little bit first. And then I'm going to put a bigger bit in to cover the grout gap. And then I fit another bit in the end there, so look at that. Can you see that? So that runs. So I'm going to take it, I'm just going to do lines now, I think, so I'm just going to carry on down here. So I'm going to do another line down to the eye, to the circle. So again, I'm just getting that, making sure I get that top edge angle correct. Making sure that this, I'm going to form a line of yellow across the top here. That bit didn't work out. See, I've put those bits in there, but I've left myself a little weird gap. You see that next to the yellow, next to the eye. So to make my life easier, I'm going to shorten this bit, make this bit smaller. But that's obviously going to give me a bit more room. So I've got a bigger gap now. So I can find, I'm always looking for a bit that's about the right size, but the right shape. I just spotted one, and look at that, that goes, and then that goes in there, perfect. So I'll come down the other side. So you could take it like, I always take a slightly, I'm not exactly 100% sure of the piece I need, I'll go a little bit bigger, and then obviously you can adjust it. So if you go too small, you're a bit buggered. So if you go slightly bigger, then you can always take another bite. So what I've done is that I've left myself this bit in the middle here. And it's got glue in it. So I could do that. So because it's quite small, we're not going to get 2 bits in. So I'm just going to look again. I'm looking for a piece that's going to fit in there. So I'm just going to judge roughly the size I need. So that bit there, look, if I could cut that across, if I can just shape this bit a little bit. So I'm cutting across the top. So the top bit fits. I just need to trim off. That bottom bit. Oh, it's broken. Forget that bit. And this bit, just find that bit. Or just happen to spot that end bit. You know when we scored the straight bits and I got that curved bit at the end? I just fitted that in. But that's left a tiny little slivery bit. Yeah, I should use darker. I need to use darker. I've left a little slivery bit. Now, if I put my wheels take a piece of glass and put them on in the middle, but towards an edge. When I break this, I'm going to get like a crescent moon off, a half a crescent moon, and that's going to fit. Oh, that looks good there. And then I just need to shape it. So I cut the other end off, and shape the other end a little bit. Drop it in. Take the point off this end. Don't need the point. A bit of a point. Try and get them as smooth as you can. We don't want any lumps and bumps. There we go, and that's just about perfect. So I could have done. So basically, I could have done that last bit. I could have done in either a whole piece, but then luckily I spotted this piece, and then I fit that in, and then I've managed to get a little sliver to fit in there. Okay. So I'm going to do pretty much the same thing on this side now. So I'm going to put a bit of glue down there. I'm going to come down there. So I'm going to repeat. What I did on this side to the other side, just to make it nice and even. We'll start there. That's fine. As I said, this is pretty straight, really. So we really want straight pieces. Don't want any angle. If it's straight, if the line's straight, if it's a fairly straight, it just needs one angle maybe down here. You just need one angle just to make it turn at the end. So again, I've just put that bit on there. I can see that I need to take a bite to make it fit around the eye. So I'll take a bite, put it back. No, not enough. I'm going to take another bite. And because we glue as we go, then I just give that a little wiggle to make it sit. And I'm happy. I'm happy with that. Another one there, leave a small one at the end. Maybe a bit too small. So again, just reduce this. Keep the same shape, but just reduce that a little bit. Also covers that little gap. Grout's gap. And then a piece to fit in the end there. when you get to the ends, you really want nice sharp points. So that end wasn't particularly sharp, so I just sharpened that a little bit. So that's fine, happy with that. So I'm going to come down here, 1, 1, 1. Again, put it down, try and visualize the angle, the bite that I need to take out of that piece to get it round the circle. Use a little bit more, and then you overdo it, and it breaks, so you have to start again. You can only take bites so much, so if you overbite it, eventually it will break. But you can see that's not bad. Again, I'm just making sure that my yellow, the outside edge runs. That's most important. And then I carry on. Bit. So again, I need a little bit to turn. I'll put a little bit in. Put a tiny bit in that covers that grout gap. This one needed a bit of, I didn't put an angle on the end there, so if I put an angle on the end here, this is going to sit better. Okay. And then I've left myself a nice squarish piece to finish. Okay. So just doesn't really matter, like if we're doing lines, so I'll come down this side first, you could come down this side. So it should work out roughly the same here, so I should be able to do two lines. Again, leave myself a nice gap. Take a bite out of it to fit around the eye. Yep, just about happy with that. Maybe that way. Sometimes you can turn them over as well and they fit better the other way up. So that piece there, just next to the eye, just actually works better if I turned him around. So again, I'm just using the nippers to take a little bite to get a better sit against that eye. Again, just making sure I get a nice matching run of line across the top in yellow. I'm going to end up with a smaller gap for some reason. I suppose it's the size of pieces that I've used. I've used slightly bigger pieces on this side, but that's not a problem. Because when we grout it, this is all going to become one shape. Because the outside edge runs, yeah? So I've left myself a smaller version of the other side. It needs a pointy bit in the middle there, but that's all right. We can cope with that. So again, I'm just eyeing up the bits that I've got on the table, seeing if there's anything that is about right. That bit to me seems like it's You have to be careful of the score marks. You don't want any score marks where you've scored the glass. We don't want any score marks showing. So this piece actually was better the other way up, but it had a, you won't be able to see it on here, but it had a slight score mark in the glass, so we don't want that showing, so I'm going to use the other side. Tuck that in the middle. Yeah, give them a little wiggle so they all sit nicely. Got a nice even gap for the grout across the board. You see that? There you go. There you go, done. Simples. Beautiful. So when we grout that, then obviously those lines will show up more. If we use like a dark grey grout or a black grout, then they're going to show up nice and sharp. Yep. Okay. So I know some of you have done a smaller board. So I'm just going to do some flowers at the bottom here because I've got this room, and I'll just do an example of some flowers, how I would do a quick flower shape. So again, start with the center points, do 3. 3 is always a good number. 3, or like an odd number. So I've got some green here. So yeah, if you haven't got the room, what I've done, like if that's your border there, across there, you could just do some half flowers maybe in the bottom here. Or if you've got some room, like around the sides, where you've got a little bit more space, maybe there, you could do a flower, or you could do a half flower off the board. The thing is with flowers, there's quite a lot of nibbling. Because you've got to get those nice angly pieces. You can do, like, depending on the size of the leaf, you can use the scoring pen. I'm going to show you. That's the center, but it's okay. Okay, it's okay. It can be a little bit chippy. It doesn't have to be like the perfect circle. You know, we're not a machine. Also, make sure they're big enough. That's quite small, so make sure your middle's big enough that you can get your flowers round. Because if you make your center too small, then where all these meet, obviously you're going to have a problem because they're all converging on that point. So if that was bigger, you're going to make this, it's going to be a bit easier. So that, for me, that's a bit small, but hey ho, we'll go with it. So where can I show you this? So with the scoring pen, once you've developed your skills with the scoring pen, you can do leaf shapes. So again, I'm pushing down and I'm going to twist my hand. I'll draw it out first. I'll find a pen. I'm going to go for a leaf shape. You know, I can see the size of the leaf that I need. So I'm going to go like this with the scoring pen. He says. I'm going to go right across the other side. So as I'm pressing, I'm turning my hand, and going across. Now I'm going to do that the other way. Turning my hand. Is it going to work? It is. There you go. Turn it over. A leaf shape. Look at that. Perfect. You've got a lovely point. It's a little bit big. So if you were doing so I could make that smaller. Next time I think, well, I'll make it a little bit smaller. But if I was doing a big one, you know, that's perfect. You take the end, take a bite out the end, so you get an end. How about that? Yeah. You see that? So if we repeated that 10 times, you're gonna come up with a pretty good flower. We'll get another go then. The only trouble with this is it's a bit wasteful on the glass because you end up with lots of pieces, like spare pieces. So if you can, if you can make the most out of your glass. Oh, that bit hasn't worked. I've sort of ended up with a sort of shape. So that's not a bad leaf shape. I like a bit of that. Because again, like this is probably going to go tuck under there. The bit that didn't quite go right, again, I take a bite out of that and I can use that there. Yeah. Not bad, not bad. Because I've got some half leaves here, so I can make the most of my glass. So I'll just do like an end really. So I'll just come across here. I've got an end there, so I've got an end. So can I use that end maybe there? Oh, I'll make a bit of a mess. No, I could use that there. So again, I need to cut this to the shape of the border. Take off a little bit, take a bite to where it sits against the flower, and that's that bit done. So I need 3 more bits. So I need a top, a pointy bit. So again, try and make the most of your glass. If you can get roughly the right shape that you need with the scoring pen, then you can just use your nibblers just to adjust it. See, I always thought, I was worried about, mosaics take long enough. So if you can find a way of making them a little bit quicker, then that's all good. Like I say, you end up with quite a bit of waste. That's the only drawback to doing them with the scoring pen. You end up with lots of bits. But you'll probably use those bits at another point somewhere else. So I need 2 more bits. And I'm going to use it the other way. I'm going to take a bite out of that. All right, sit next to the flower. Another bite there. Sorry, I should be using my biters. Sometimes the glasses you can break it with your hands. See that bit is a bit skinny. So I really wanted a fatter bit there. So I'm going to do one more fat bit. I'll try and do a fatter bit. I'm going to work out roughly. You could put the glass on there. That's another way of doing it. You can put your glass on there. You get a marker pen, mark out the shape you need. So I roughly want that sort of shape. We'll try that. So even though that is a permanent marker, it's going to come out. It'll come off the glass from the grouse hit. There's that. Adjust the ends. And this, don't need a point here, to take that off. There you go. Kind of a flower. Not bad. Well, that was a quick example. Okay. So because I've got behind this, because I've used a yellow, you would use maybe a dark colour, you know, to show off the flower, like a bit of shadow. I would probably put a bit of dark in there. Do that. Yeah. Again, just think about your colour palette. I wasn't gluing as I go there, was I? I got carried away. So this is what not to do. So because I wasn't gluing as I was going along there, I'm going to have to take all these bits off. I won't remember where they are. And I'm going to have to put them all back again. Is that there? So if you're gluing as you're going, it holds the pieces still, and you haven't got to take them all off and put them all back on again. I did that as a little test, a little example for you of how not to do it. Is that how? I think it's something like that. That's not bad. That'll do. Yeah. Maybe this one was a little bit big. Like maybe I could adjust that to make it a little bit smaller, maybe. So have a little go at maybe a half flower. If you don't want to waste too much glass, you know, that's just an example of how to do it. I'll just quickly do another one. So if I do another one here, I'll do another one here, and then it will leave me some nice background caps, and I'll put some dark in to show off the flowers a little bit more. Let's have a look. Oh, I've got a bit blue here. Let's put blue. So again, maybe I'll go a bit bigger on my middle, and then that'll make it more easier for me to work around. Because, like I say, if you've got 6 bits coming together to a middle point, you want your middle point to be big enough to take those 6 bits. So if it's too small, then you're going to end up with problems. Just trying to eliminate problems before you get there, you know, especially with mosaics, because, like I say, it takes long enough. So if you can avoid causing yourself too many problems, then that's going to be better for you. Okay, so I've made my middle there a little bit bigger. I've got a sheet of orangey red here. I'll use that. Keep your desk nice and clear. So I'm going to cut some petal shapes again. So I've got this piece here, so I'm going to use my scoring pen I'm bending my hand as it goes, trying to match up the points. Breaking off and then adjusting with the nibblers. That wasn't the greatest one. It broke. It went wrong at the end. So I'll probably think about maybe using that one there, like as a behind leaf. Yeah, that one there works. So put that one there. Start off there. So I'll try and get some of these front leaves in. Okay, that's a better one. You know, you could just, but it just need, you don't want any score marks showing, so I don't know if you can see. That's got a little score mark in the end there, just the end, just needs a little nibble, so make sure it's all nicely nibbled and straight. So because that's a nice one, I'm probably going to use that there at the top. So I'll take a nibble off the bottom and use that one there. Okay. I'm using my breakers. Again, almost perfect. Needs a little nibble. That one can go there. Take a little bite off the end. How many more do I need? 1, 2, 3 more maybe. Have I got enough? Ooh, that was a bit dodgy. Yeah, that's okay. It's a bit skinny. There's a bit of a skinnier one, this one. So that could go there. It's going to go off the board, so I need to adjust the end. Then I need to work out the bites, the cut I need at the end, so it sits against the edge. Maybe a bit more. But that would work all right if I took a bite off the other end a bit more. Take another bite and wiggle, and that's okay. So I need one more maybe there. I'm guesstimating the angle I need at the bottom. Let's go a bit more. Oh, slightly overdone it, but I can live with that. And then maybe need one more there. So it just happens I've got just enough. Can I do it? Oh, it's a skinny one. It's a skinny one. I'm just moving those other ones just to take up a bit of space. Oh, can I live with that? So again, you could do another layer. If you want to keep going, you could just keep going with the, you know, put another one behind it. So then I'm just trying to wiggle them so they're a little bit more even. That's not too bad. As an example, good thing about that, get a bit closer, is that I've got some nice gaps. So because I've done this a bit skinnier, I've got some nice gaps that I can get a bit of background, like a bit of green, a different colouring behind there to show off my flower. So I'll come back to that. So we'll let that dry. Let that dry, and then we'll fill in some background. So if you had to, you know, you could put in some blues or greens or different colours, you know, to contrast against the flowers. So there you go. So there's my quick example of how to do some flowers without too much trouble. Okay. So like I say, maybe try half flowers or whole flowers if you've got the room, and see how you get on with that. So what I'm going to do as well, at the end of the last one, we didn't do the antennae. So I'm going to just go around the antennae. I've got some white here. Because this is a very sharp gap, I'll probably do it with a scoring pen. So with the scoring pen, I know that I can get some really nice sharp points like that. And I'm going to put that in there and think, it's not too bad. Can I live with that? You know, it's not too bad. So where it starts to go wrong, that's when I'm going to cut it. And because this is a mosaic, and maybe I'll cut this into 3 bits. I'm going to cut it short. I'm going to cut a small bit first because of the grout gaps. I'm going to put some glue on. So I'm going to go around here. I'm going to go around the antennae in white. So get that bit in as far as you can. Take my bit. Break it up into another bit. Again, grout gaps are all good. And then I just need to, the last bit that I had, if I take a little bite out of the top, it should fit around the antennae. Beautiful. So I'm just going to come up here and circle round. Am I? Yes. Okay, so to get around here, to get around the antennae, it's going to take some triangles. That's going to take some serious triangles. So I'm doing some sharp points. That's okay. Well, basically, I'm just going to go around the top there. Hang on. But I want it to match up, so I just made this match up. I'm going to come across the top with a triangle bit. So again, the most important thing is that the white runs and it borders the antennae, obviously, in a formal, in a flashing way, in a way that matches. So I'll put another triangle bit there. When I say triangle, so these are like angles. So because we're going around a circle, I'm doing sharp triangles to make it turn, make it bend round. Yeah, I wasn't sure whether to go around the antennae because they're so fiddly. I wasn't convinced that I should do that, and to be honest, I'm still not convinced I should have gone around the antennae. It would have been best to leave it, but I've done it now. So when this dries, I'll put a picture. I'll put a picture on the website, so you can see it on the Patreon site, so you can see what I've done. So when it dries, you'll get a better view. But if you've done, because I know some of you have done smaller antennae, so if it's too fiddly, then it's maybe, and you've done them in black or very dark color, it might be better off just to leave it, to be fair. So as I said, my Patreon channel starts for proper from June. So if you want to follow me on there, you can subscribe to that and follow me. And we'll listen. For June, we're going to make a sunflower mosaic because a couple of the guys wanted to make a sunflower. So that's going to be the June project. So I'm going to finish this off on the video tomorrow. So you've got the finished article, but can you see that? Can you see I've gone around that? A bit haphazard. Not sure. Well, see what we think, because maybe I should fill this piece in white as well. Silly antennae. Or maybe I should do the whole background white. Just because I've gone around those antennae, and then maybe I didn't need to. So I'll let that dry. I'll have a think about it. I'll put some pictures on the Patreon site, and we can see what we decide. Maybe this needs to be white, and if I go around here, I'm going to probably end up with a similar thing. So maybe the top piece should be white, and then maybe I'll do a different color just to show how a different color looks against the white border. So I'll do that as an example as well. So that's it. So if you want to, if you're a newbie and you're interested in joining for the sunflower mosaic, if you subscribe to my Patreon site or my YouTube channel, or message me on Facebook, and I can send you all the information you need to get the tools and a little bit of materials you need, and we'll do the sunflower in June. I'm going to do the next video probably tomorrow and finish this off, and then we'll look at the grousing, so that'll be on there for you guys as well. So hope you enjoyed that. Take care and see you next time. All right, bye-bye.